James Park, Newcastle for another big match live. The visitors here today are West Ham United. And although Newcastle are propping up the First Division at the moment, there's certainly no lack of enthusiasm among the supporters. It's a real Geordie welcome not only to West Ham, but the rest of the country looking in. Well, it's an important game for both sides. Newcastle to get away from the bottom of that table, and of course West Ham to stay in touch with the leaders. And it's also a very important game for two England rivals. We've got Peter Beardsley and Tony Cottee, and a chance for them to impress Bobby Robson, who's here watching the game. Martin Tyler spoke to both players earlier.
Well, in fact, we've got two lads here who have been roommates on recent England trips. With Bobby Robson in the ground today, Peter, is there going to be a little bit of rivalry between the two of you?
I wouldn't say so. You know, I think we both know what we've got to do. And to be fair, once we're off the field, we'll be good friends again.
Tony?
Well, same as what Peter said, really. We're best of friends off the pitch, but once you get on the pitch, it's a different matter, really.
But you are, in your England ambitions, really competing for either Peter's place or Gary Lineker's place.
Well, to a certain extent, yeah. But, I mean, there's no rivalry between us. I mean, if I can get that place, good. If I can't, you know, I'm still young, so I've got plenty of time, really.
The last time you played against West Ham, you ended up in goal. I suppose you don't want that to happen again today.
No, especially the result. You know, if I end up in goal and we win, it wouldn't be so bad. But I ended up in goal when we were 5-0 down, so it ended up 8-1. So I was quite happy that we scored a goal while I was in goal.
And Tony didn't put one past you?
No, that's right. He had one of his probably worst days as regards scoring. When they score 8 goals, you expect Tony to score at least 3 of those. But he's proved this season, as he did last season, that he can score even when they're just winning 1-0.
One will do today, Tony.
That's right, yeah. As long as we win, that's the main thing for us.
Yes, certainly we're looking for one. And with me today, Mike Shannon, an ex-Newcastle player, Michael.
That's right, I played here. I trundled one in at this end. It just went in off the post. They didn't take them long to suss me out. I lasted 3 weeks up here.
Now, this game has been billed as a battle of the strikers, you know, the McAvenny Cottee.
Yeah, right.
Against the
That's right. I mean, it's interesting. Beardsley's only scored 2 goals this year. I mean, and talking to people up here and what I've seen of him this season, he's been playing too deep. And they've got to get him up front. And with Goddard coming, they've started to score goals. And with this atmosphere, these fans here are unbelievable. It makes for a tremendous game, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I saw last week at the game at Chelsea, you know, and I must say this, that Newcastle didn't play very well, Michael, in the first half. And yet in the second half, the point you're making about Beardsley, started playing up front, you know, made 1 goal, scored another, and, you know, the transformation was amazing. But I think West Ham may have a little bit too much for them.
Well, like I say, I think they've just started to play at the right time. They've got Goddard who's come here and given them a spark. Everyone I've spoke to said he's playing well for them. And I think with the likes of Big Martin not playing today, I think that these two might just cause some problems. As long as Beardsley stays up the park and causes problems around that area, because he's great there.
OK. Well, I'm glad to say we can welcome Ron Atkinson back to our team, and he's in the grandstand assisting our match commentator today, Ryan Moore.
Thank you, Ian. Glorious day here. And Newcastle United with Martin Thomas in goal. And a back four that's at full strength with Peter Jackson, bought from Bradford City earlier this season for £250,000, coming through a test on a calf injury. In midfield, Andy Thomas has been in particularly good form. His 2 goals at Chelsea last weekend, making sure of a valuable Newcastle victory. And then, as we've said, what a promising and developing partnership up front. Paul Goddard, troubled by an ankle injury all week, but now playing against his old teammates, and Peter Beardsley. Well, West Ham's injury troubles have all cleared up. Phil Parkes is in goal. Ray Stewart has recovered from injury, returns to right back. In the midfield, Neil Orr with a ricked back, and the influential Alan Devonshire with a slight hamstring. Were both past fit today. And then up front, the combination of Cottee and McAvenny. Well, it's the same sort of exciting prospect for us today as Goddard and Beardsley produce at the other end. And the real man of the moment, Paul Goddard, some 7 seasons he had at West Ham. And he only trained yesterday, in point of fact, for the first time this week with an ankle injury, and then went off to Whitley Bay in the afternoon to paddle in the icy waters there. Well, the man who's got to try and beat is one of his greatest friends, Phil Parkes. As we get underway, West Ham in the claret and blue shirts attacking the goal to our right. And Newcastle United, of course, in the famous magpie stripes. West Ham with an amazing away record. They've yet to be beaten away from home this season. And a win today would put them up into 4th place in the table. Kick on by Potty, prospering them not at all. Anderson. They have a very good record against Newcastle, do the Hammers. They've not lost to Newcastle in the last 12 meetings. They won here last season 2-1, thanks to Potty and McAvenny. Good work here as Roeder tries to bring Paul Stevenson into the action. And then winning 8-1 at Upton Park. And Newcastle had real goalkeeping problems, and Peter Beardsley went into goal. Referee Keith Hackett from Sheffield. Stewart then with the throw for West Ham. Towards McAvenny, instantly shadowed there by Glenn Roeder. Stewart to Dickens. Total miskip there by Andy Thomas. McDonald on the far side, and then Anderson with a quick challenge. Harris. Neil MacDonald with the throw for Newcastle. Here's Peter Beardsley. Harris. McAvenny. Picking out Mark Ward. Concentration flagged for just a moment. The pitch can't be blamed. It's in absolutely perfect condition. Stewart winning it in the air. Kenny Wharton, or miskick gives it away to Mark Ward. Stevenson. Come on! Beardsley. Andy Thomas, formerly with Oxford. Goddard, a nice little touch for Beardsley. Tries to get Stevenson down the line. Beardsley. Stevenson. Beardsley. Stewart cutting it out and getting it back to keeper Phil Parks. Berry. Potty. Playing with enough confidence early on, and having seen them yesterday, Newcastle in training, that win at Chelsea last week did wonders for their spirit and their confidence. They give every other impression than being at the bottom of the First Division table, and there's no doubt that the arrival of Goddard has had a lot to do with that. It's a throw to Newcastle. Beardsley. In fact, Willie McFall, the Newcastle manager, was saying in its way, getting Paul Goddard here, that's Kenny Wharton, but getting Paul Goddard here is in its way like having had Kevin Keegan here. It's lifted everybody in the club. Stewart with the throw. Big Peter Jackson from Bradford City. Kenny Wharton to Glenn Roeder. McDonald on the far side. Anderson's gone on ahead of him. And no ceremony there. And no sympathy there as Goddard got a bit of a juddering challenge. Anderson. Goddard. And Hilton getting that away for West Ham. Going as far as Jackson. Getting it through to Thomas. Across the face of the goal, a missed kick by Stewart, almost letting Newcastle in. Here's Stevenson. Beardsley. Getting it across again. This time it's Gale looking for a way back, finding it's barred, changing his mind a couple of times and then giving it to Stevenson. And West Ham just at the moment a little rocky at the back. Goddard with the shot. Saved by Parks. Get the score for his new club, and he would dearly love to do it today. and Ron Atkinson, former Manchester United manager. It's great to have you with us, Ron. And really quite a bright start by Newcastle.
Yes, they've done very well. The lads were saying before the game about Peter Beardsley dropping off into deep positions, and yet, funnily enough, when he has dropped off deep, he's looked very effective. I think it's very important if he does keep pulling away off West Ham's back four, that people like Andy Thomas make runs, as you've just seen, into the box.
The linesman flagging for a throw to West Ham, to the annoyance of the St James's faithful. Yes, take the point about Andy Thomas, and in fact I think that's one of the things that's delighted the management here, is the way he has made some really effective breaks from the midfield. McAvenny in the corner to West Ham, the first of the game. 6 minutes gone. If you just joined us, no score here at St James's Park. A glorious afternoon. Mark Ward with the corner for West Ham. Towards Gale with that header, but a goal kick. Peter Beardsley, having said the arrival of Goddard, in fact, has given him a better service over 3 games than he's had for the whole of this season, with no disrespect to the people he's played with before. It's just that their style has changed a little bit. Goddard, you'll be noticing, holds it up so well and brings other people into the game, encouraging Beardsley to take a more forward position. Should be Phil Parks's. It's the crowd behind the goals. Phil, 36 years old. Extraordinary twist in his life, and Paul Goddard's. They shared a car to training for about 6 or 7 years. And in fact, he's got a little business on the side of replacement windows, and at this very moment is sorting out some replacement windows for whose house? Paul Goddard's. Paul having kept his house down in Buckinghamshire. Dickens. It's amazing how that win at Chelsea last week seems to have lifted Newcastle, and yet in the first quarter of an hour, 20 minutes of that game, Chelsea might well have been 3 or 4 ahead. But they stuck to their job so well. It's put a spring in their stride here at St James's Park this afternoon. It's John Anderson, long ball forward, but it'll be allowed by Gale to go through to Phil Parks. McAvenny. And having said that if West Ham win, they go 4th. If Newcastle win, they go off the bottom and leave Manchester City there. So I imagine if there are any City fans watching today, they must be rooting for West Ham. Harris. Firecracker's gone off in the corner of the ground. Great plume of smoke there as well. And a few photographers crowding around that situation at the moment. And some ambulance men have gone in there too. In the meantime, Devonshire plays it forward. And now Anderson for Newcastle United. Good run here by the fullback. And Goddard is offside. And Parks came screaming out.
It's very noticeable at the moment, Brian, that West Ham are tucking both Ward and Devonshire right in tight. They're not breaking forward at all. They're just content to let Newcastle push at them and try and soak up the pressure.
And it'll be a goal.
That's a tactic that West Ham have got particularly good at over the last couple of years, where that's why they've had so many outstanding away results. Everyone in midfield works very hard. Everybody doubles back and does their share of back tackling and so forth. And what they try and do, they try and frustrate Newcastle.
Their defensive record is good as well, Ron. I noticed they've conceded only 3 goals in their last 6 games. People used to come and think West Ham were a soft touch. They never really were that, but I mean, they've become even harder, it seems, of late. Well, here's Goddard. Heard a minute or two ago, I gather, was a firecracker set off in the crowd, and I'm glad to say it appears that nobody's been hurt, just a few eardrums bruised. Mark Ward. And Stevenson staying with him, and then McCreary in fact obstructing him, giving West Ham the free kick. 12 minutes gone, no score.
It's a distance Ward will fancy himself with as well if he has a straight shot here.
He's got a great little strike on him. He's only scored a couple of times this season, but I remember 1 or 2 particularly effective free kicks last season. In fact, he plays it wide for George Paris. Beaten by Anderson. Side for Devonshire again. McAvenny. Roda sticking very close to him. Good play by Roda. And a slip by Orr allows Beardsley to nip in. Free kick given to Newcastle. I think there was possibly a handball there. In comes Hilton. Ward. A little battle, this one, and Thomas out. No score with 13 minutes gone. Beardsley. Hilton watching Goddard so well. Big Paul Hilton. The news, incidentally, of Alvin Martin. He played a reserve game yesterday. Came through it unscathed, so John Lyle, the manager, tells me. No doubt Alvin, like Jeff Pike, who did the same yesterday, will soon be looking for a first-team place again. Ward's pass far too far ahead of Potty. Jackson. Anderson. Chase is on again, and Hilton doing some more good work for West Ham. Harris finding Devonshire. In comes Anderson quickly, but West Ham got the better of him there. But look, Jackson. Thomas again. Here's waiting in the middle. So is Paul Stevenson. Beardsley. Trying to get it through to Goddard. Getting it through to Anderson, and Ward getting it back. They were housed for a penalty as the full-back came storming in. But I'm sure the referee was right.
Yes, I thought there was some brilliant little link-up play between the Newcastle team and Brian. I'm not so sure, you know, the Tackett, who I think is probably the best referee in the game, was right there. Be interesting to see this now.
Well, you've seen it again.
Well, I think if that had been Peter Beardsley diving, I think he might have got a penalty. John Anderson, a full-back in sort of uncharted territory for him.
He thought about it for a moment or two. I think the referee was right, Ron. This is Kenny Wharton. Stevenson. And Stewart getting it back. But whether it was a penalty or not, there's no doubt that Newcastle made a pretty good impression, haven't they, in this first 16 minutes?
Yes, they've closed down very well in midfield, which is going to be important to them, because West Ham are as good as anyone in the middle of the park when they're allowed to be. But that's something they've got. They mustn't drop off people like Dickens or people like Ward or Devonshire. They'll all be out to impress the England manager.
Wharton getting it away from his Farazor. Nice touch by him for Stewart. Hilton completely fooling McCreary. Dickens. Lovely skills. And finding Hilton. Devonshire. Newcastle's throw. Neil MacDonald. Beardsley alone up there. Stewart following him across the field. Devonshire for West Ham. Ball still in play. Finding Cotty. Here's Wharton. The game. Thomas. Rhoda. Creary. Thomas. Wharton. Andy Thomas again. This time looking for Neil MacDonald. And some good covering by Alan Devonshire as the big young number 7 of Newcastle United came in.
Once again, Brian, good build-up from Newcastle. MacDonald comes flying in off a long ball. As you so rightly said, full marks to Devonshire, stuck against his man, and has saved West Ham from a very embarrassing situation there.
Well, Mark Ward now for West Ham. It will be Ray Stewart. Finding McAvenny. And again, look just how close Rhoda is sticking. McAvenny 5 goals this season, Cotty 14. Last season between them 53. Dickens keeping that in, and in the end forcing Jackson to concede another corner. Ward again will take it. Tony Gale's gone forward, and Hilton's up there too. Gale going in with a header that time. Thomas getting it away. Devonshire trying to drive it back and just wide. Thomas, the 27-year-old, in fact 27 last Friday. A Welshman, one Welsh cap. Rhoda. Stevenson. Gale just ducking in. Hilton taking the safe way out as he thought, but presenting Newcastle with their first corner of the game. Well, they've certainly got a few big fellas who might exploit this. Neil MacDonald's in there. Glenn Rhoda, another 6-footer. Peter Jackson, another 6-footer. Paul Stevenson will take it. Punched away, or rather pushed away by Parks in the first place. Half cleared there by Paris. And now Ward. And it came off Anderson for a throw to West Ham. Anderson, in fact, aiming and connecting with a kick on Mark Ward after the ball had gone out of play. Stewart getting it out. Cotty beating Anderson in the air. Jackson finding MacDonald. Jackson forward again to Beardsley. Played for Jackson again. They are putting some nice movements together, Newcastle at the moment. Thomas now bringing the full-back Wharton into it, and he's got Stevenson away on his left. Here's Stevenson. It'll fall easily for George Paris. Just over 20 minutes gone, no score. McAvenny. Kane Roeder sticking close to his man, but another clumsy corner conceded there by Newcastle. Will take this one.
Well, I don't know whether Mark Wood's got some sort of a knock, but watching him, he doesn't seem to be zipping up and down the line as he usually does. I mean, I think he's a player that could force himself into the England squad. And yet today he seems just content to sit, and he does appear to be having problems when he's sprinting.
Let's watch that. Gale. Devonshire playing it in again. Another deflection for another corner. Ward's an aggressive little player as well, isn't he?
I think he's a tremendous little player. As I say, I think he's one that could force his way into the full England squad. Whenever I've seen him in the past, whenever there's a break on Brian, he sprints like fury for things. But today he looks, whether he's just content to sit and contain, I don't know.
Well, here he is getting this ball from Devonshire. Dickens. Goal kick. Seems to have cornered the market in firecrackers up in James's Park as well. It's a bright enough opening, and Willie McFall, who celebrates this month 20 years at Newcastle United as a player, as a coach, and now as a manager. Fine goalkeeper in his day.
Squeeze it out.
Comes off McCreary for Dickens. Anderson again. MacDonald. Goddard. Again, that example of him holding it up and trying to bring other people in. Goddard again. This is the fullback Anderson, and Dickens back with him, but the flag was up for a free kick to Newcastle. Number 2, John Anderson, came on a free transfer from Preston way back in 1982, spotted by Arthur Cox when Arthur was manager here, and doing such a great job at Derby. And certainly Anderson's doing a fine job here. MacDonald then with the free kick for Newcastle. Floater. The head's getting in there. In the end, turned by Anderson behind for the goal kick to West Ham. McAvenny. A little bit at 6s and 7s at the moment, West Ham. Newcastle really with the bit between their teeth. Donald. Anderson. Carries away. Now Cotty. Stewart. Ward. Poor pass there, cut out by Andy Thomas. West Ham's throw. Stewart having stolen 3 or 4 yards to the immense annoyance of this noisy St James's Park crowd, told to get back again. Really is a passion about the game up here. McAvenny. This is McCreary, and they're hustling. Combination of the crowd and some good Newcastle play, hustling West Ham into a few mistakes at the moment. But Ward with the throw, and another one. Cotti. And McAvenny is waiting in the middle. Good work by the keeper. A simple pass to McAvenny would have meant a certain goal. Now it's Beardsley with West Ham forced to come back and defend, and Ward getting back at the expense of a corner. Well, a slip in the Newcastle defence very nearly allowing West Ham in. I'll speak to Ron about that in a moment. Stevenson with a long cross. And ball out of play. Touch and go that, Ron.
Yes, it's certainly West Ham's best moment in the game, and I think Tony Cotti will be disappointed that he didn't produce him with the final ball there.
Stewart with a header away. And now McAvenny. No, there was a foul by McAvenny on Andy Thomas, and a free kick to Newcastle United. Now what can they produce from this? When you're bottom of the table and you're starting to play well, you do need a goal to top it all off before any disappointment can come crashing in. Wharton's behind it. He won't score a goal that way.
Yes, I thought you said in that build-up earlier when West Ham had the chance.
This is the moment ago, the Cotti one.
Yes, I think he should have. He tried to bend it in the top corner where possibly he may have faced it across to McAvenny.
And there's number 8, McAvenny, coming in, you see.
Yeah, but I think you saw the value early on in that movement, though. Dickens played a superb little one-touch ball into Cotti.
That'll be a West Ham throw. Or Harris. Cotti. Devonshire. There's McDonald from Newcastle. Beardsley. Thomas. Good play by Orr. Ward trying to get McAvenny away, and the keeper's out again.
I certainly think it's very important to Newcastle, though the Wilders probably are the better side at the moment, that they cash in on it, because you've always got the impression that West Ham have probably got at least 2 gears they can go up a little bit.
Anderson now for Newcastle. Harris finding Devonshire, perhaps a little luckily. That's a better ball, though, by Devonshire for Dickens, and Ward is making a buzzing run down the right, but again, it wasn't the best of balls. But here's Mark Ward. Now Dickens trying to bring Stewart into it, but there wasn't enough on it, and it's Kenny Wharton for Newcastle. Ben Roeder. Wharton. Stevenson. Running into trouble. Ward gets it away. McAvenny's onside. Cotti's making a run towards the far post. And again, Martin Thomas is down. Roeder. McAvenny. Beardsley. Thomas. Goddard. Nice turn. The crowd enjoyed that. Bringing in Stevenson. Now, can he get past Lee Stewart? He can. This could be problems for West Ham. A little floater, and it's there! It's Neil MacDonald! Look at the delight at St James's Park, and the danger signs were there from West Ham from the moment that Stewart was beaten by Stevenson here. Ron Atkinson.
Yes, he's done very well here. It's probably the first time Stevenson's taken him on in a one-to-one situation. And having got this, put the ball in just the right place, pulled the keeper under the ball, sucked him over. And the lad from the opposite side got him terrific. What is interesting on that, isn't it, in the build-up earlier when Goddard let the ball run past his body to set it up, that's probably something, you know, Brahani learnt at West Ham.
I think that was Trevor Brookings' copyright. And here come West Ham now with Ward. May have been obstruction, but the referee says no.
from a game point of view as well, Brian, I think that's given the game a hell of a lift, because I think you'll find at West Ham were very content, weren't they, to just sit on the game and push it about. Now they've got to start sprinting and playing with their customary zip.
Well, here it is again. Newcastle fans won't worry about seeing this again. Some great play here by Paul Stevenson, and a lovely little cross. Phil Parkes just about gets his hand to it. No, he doesn't. And McDonald is there to finish it off. It's Ray Stewart. Alan Devonshire. McAvenny. McAvenny on again. The flag was up for an offside against Cotty. Kick to be taken by Glenn Roeder. You're sampling this atmosphere at home, because here it's as though Newcastle have just won the FA Cup and the league combined. Just look at these marvellous Newcastle fans.
Brian, these are as good a fans as there are in the country now. I remember coming here last season, end of the season, we're beating them 4-1, and their crowd were cheering as if, like you just said, as if they were winning the cup final.
Well, that's the man behind it, Willie McFall. Ward for West Ham. That's the ball. I don't think Neil Orr will get to that one. Martin Thomas with no problems. Ian McDonald, who scored for Newcastle, that's his 4th of the season. The previous 3 all came from the penalty spot. Goddard turning well again against Tony Gale. And then finding Beardsley. Thomas is waiting in the middle! Goddard again. And the combination with Beardsley. And again, a delightful cross. The man is free. It's Andy Thomas, 2-0.
Brilliant link-up play, Brad. What about a word for the referee there? Letting play go on and everybody was wanting a free kick on Goddard.
Now a real problem for West Ham. Ward, to Stewart. Well, Newcastle's bright start has borne precisely the right fruit now. 2 goals. With 34 minutes gone.
It's also very pleasing for the boy Thomas, isn't he? He looks as if he's going to have a tremendous career when he first started off at Oxford, and then he had bad injuries that set him back a bit, and this looks as if it's now giving him a lease of life coming up here.
2 last week at Stamford Bridge, and 1 that's really got him going here this afternoon. Well, he's got it, but he's lost it, but McDonald is there to save it for Newcastle. League games, 37 goals. Oxford, a little period on loan with Fulham and with Derby, and now, as Ron says, a new lease of life here at St James's Park for Andy Thomas. And West Ham's unbeaten away record now looking to be in real trouble.
Yes, I would think Newcastle would be very happy now if they could just keep it like this till half-time and take stock of the situation.
Seem quite happy.
Yeah, and rightly so, because what can sometimes happen in football, you don't score in your best periods. Well, fortunately for Newcastle, they've done that.
Well, here they come again. Thomas finding Beardsley, and the flag stays down for Goddard against his his own club, and he's missed it. Oh, what a disappointment for him. That really would have killed off the game.
Really, he looked to have done everything right as well. I mean, I would have bet money once he'd played it past this was going in. Looked as if he'd done everything perfect.
2-0 it remains.
The West Ham defenders are playing hell with the referee about a possible offside there, but I think the ref was right again.
Goddard with the header. Still the score for his new club. But as we've seen, he had a big part to play in both the Newcastle goals we've seen this afternoon. McAvenny versus Jackson. Jackson's header. A flick on by Thomas. Here's Stewart. McDonald now for Newcastle. Ben Roda. Kenny Wharton. Wharton. Roda to Beardsley. Now for Anderson. Harris, Devonshire, played in for Dickens. Short from McAvenny. Dickens again, sidestepping the referee. Here's Neil Orr. Mark Ward getting it towards Dickens again, but cut out by Andy Thomas. This is Paul Stevenson. Beardsley. Good play. They're really playing some stuff now. You would have to blink if you looked at the league table to think that this side at the moment, leading 2-0, are at the bottom. Stewart.
Yes, I think the biggest single factor they've got going for them at the moment, Newcastle, Brian, is the fact they've absolutely dominated midfield. Little McCreary, who always does a good little job, hasn't given Dickens much of a smell of the game. And the two wide midfield players.
Here's Beardsley. Saved, and a good save it was. They're absolutely rampant at the moment at Newcastle. It was McDonald standing off a little bit, and I think they may have felt there was going to be a pass to him, but Beardsley let fly, and Parks had to be at his best at full stretch. So it'll be Stevenson getting across there to take a corner for Newcastle. Billy McFall and Colin Saggett, his coach. Ward for West Ham. Good tackle again by Anderson. West Ham have only lost one of their last 6, and that was in the full Members' Cup in midweek against Chelsea. Their form up to now had been so good. Dickens, Harris. Come for Ray Stewart. In towards Frank McAvenny. Here's Paul Goddard, chested down for Beardsley, and Beardsley getting it back.
The funny thing is, Brown, we're talking before the game about Peter Beardsley dropping off deep. Both him and Goddard are coming up the two central defenders quite well.
As Goddard did then.
If they stand up against them, they're both big lads, Hilton and Gale. But I think they're both finding it difficult when Beardsley and Goddard come short and have the ball into feet.
Beardsley and Goddard both only 5'8". Well, there's Goddard again, trying to get Thomas in once more, but Phil Parks was there. Stewart. McAvenny versus Rhoda. Wharton keeping it in and gets the throw. Beardsley. Something in the way there towards MacDonald. It comes to Devonshire, but there's Anderson, who's had a really good game. Goddard wanted a bit of that action, but Anderson told him to get out of the way in no uncertain terms. But then Dickens halts his progress, and here's Tony Dale now for West Ham. John Anderson. Well, that stumps Devonshire down. Nice.
I don't think I've seen West Ham for a long time get caught in possession so much or give the ball away when they've got good possession. I would think John Lyle will certainly be talking about that at half-time, plus the fact getting his midfield players up in quicker support of McAvenny and Cotty, Brian.
Dickens. Caught again, you see. Goddard taking it up. The little ball this time for Thomas, but it's Paris who takes it up now for West Ham. Cotty has drifted away to the left-hand side. He's got McAvenny waiting in the middle, but not a lot of other support, and he holds his arms out, as you could see, saying, well, come on, somebody help me. Stewart. Ward. Lovely little ball played in for Ray Stewart. Needs a good cross. Rhoda behind it for Newcastle. Ward, the little touch for Hilton. Here's Orr. Newcastle still leading 2-0. Paul Hilton. Look at Beardsley coming in there to quicken things up and trying to hustle a mistake out of West Ham. But it's with Mark Ward again. Gets his cross in that was deflected, and Jackson, no nonsense, gets it away. Minutes that has flown by, which again gives you an idea of how good the game is, and particularly good for Newcastle, leading with those goals by Neil MacDonald and Andy Thomas. Bottom team upsetting the odds, leading West Ham 2-0. Rhoda with the header away, helped on by Andy Thomas. Goddard flashing with Paris there. An accidental clash as they both went for that one, but it looks to me as though the referee is going to book George Paris. What did you feel about that, Ron?
Yes, I think it's more of a gesture from the referee. I can't believe that was intent.
It looks as though it's a pretty nasty injury. I think there was some blood there coming through the fingers of Paul Goddard as he went diving in there. Oh, my word.
It's actually it's caused by Paris taking his eye off the ball, wasn't it? Paris actually turned away. That's why he's caught Goddard in the head.
Shades of Glenn Hoddle and Steve Hodge for England a few weeks back. A really nasty clash of heads. And in fact, both the physios are there. Rob Jenkins and Derek Wright. And he is really groggy and in a pretty bad way.
I'm sure I've just seen the referee signal for a stretcher there, man.
Well, the doctor's on as well to have a look.
Well, that'll be a blow if he has to come off, because that was a tremendous little link-up between Goddard and Beardsley.
But just look at the crowd, the reaction of the crowd all around the ground. Great applause for Paul Goddard as he comes off after the clash of heads with George Paris. And it's right on half-time. They'll presumably wait to see just what the situation is at half-time, but he looks pretty groggy. And I would question whether Paul Goddard will be back on the field. As you say, it probably was an accident with the fact that George Paris had taken his eye off the ball on. So Newcastle for the moment 2 goals up, but down to 10 men. Ward, in goes McCreary. Clinton. Ward. Or to McAvenny. Half-time whistle. Full of incidents and full of good things for Newcastle United, except right at the end when Paul Goddard has gone off injured. With those goals by Neil MacDonald and Andy Thomas, giving the team at the bottom of the table a real hope of picking up 3 points here at St James's Park. 29 minutes and 32. We'll get the views in a moment of Ian St John and Mike Shannon. That's after the break.